Welcome to Carol's Kitchen. Today I will be making cheesy potatoes and Waldorf salad. Our musical guest is Abigail Boorujy, pianist. Abigail is from Watertown. She just graduated from high school, and in the fall she'll be a freshman at Maranatha Baptist University, majoring in piano pedagogy, piano performance, and string pedagogy. Our story today is entitled The Road to Nowhere. And it tells about the time, just about a year ago, that the satellite navigation system on our car went wonky and sent me on an adventure where no woman has gone before. Sounds like fun. Let's get started. First on the menu today is cheesy potatoes. They are very, very easy to make and incredibly tasty. The first thing you start out with is 16 ounces of sour cream, which I've already got here in the bowl, and 1 stick of butter or margarine that's been melted. Mixed it in here with this. Then 1 can of condensed cream of chicken soup. So we're making kind of the dressing, the goo that goes around the potatoes. And then the spices that are in here, in this little tiny little container is 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And that is our topping for around the potatoes. And the potatoes, the easy schmeezy way to do it is with the shredded hash browns that you can buy at the store, a 30-ounce container, which I have already here in the bowl. You need a total of 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese. I like to use the sharp cheddar cheese, but here's 1.5 cups of that, which I placed in here with the potatoes and mix those up good. Now the potatoes, you want to have them that they've been sitting out just for a little while so that they're partially thawed. It helps them to cook a little more quickly. You add to it this mixture, the sour cream mixture that we just put together, and then stir it up so that it is well combined. The interesting thing about this particular recipe, almost everywhere I would read about it, people called it, yes, cheesy potatoes, but they also called them funeral potatoes, which is an interesting name to have for a recipe, because when churches have a funeral and then they serve a lunch in the fellowship hall afterwards, a lot of people bring dishes to help feed the people that came to the funeral. And one of the most popular items is this cheesy potato combination that we're making here today. So maybe you just can call them potluck potatoes and it won't sound so morbid. So you mix them, put them together, and then put them into this cake pan, 9 by 13, and I sprayed the cake pan with butter baking spray and smooth it out a little bit, and then sprinkle the last 1/2 cup of the cheddar cheese over the top. And that is it, folks. The cheesy potatoes get placed in a 400-degree oven bake it for about 45 minutes, and then, and I did forget to put the lid on it, so I will quick do that. I have a lid right here. You could put tin foil, or this particular cake pan comes with a lid, so we'll put the lid on it. And 45 minutes covered, and then uncover it, and for about 15 minutes uncovered so that the cheese on the top can brown. And that's it. Cheesy potatoes, easy peasy. Robert Schumann's Kinderscenen, translated Scenes from Childhood, is a series of 13 short piano pieces composed in 1838. Robert Schumann told his wife, Clara Wieck, that these pieces were inspired by a comment she made that sometimes he seemed like a child. Today, Abigail Boorujy will play movements 2, 3, and 7 from Robert Schumann's Kinderscenen, Opus 15. Next on the menu is Waldorf salad. To begin with, we make a dressing that will go over the apples and celery, which are well known. I've got a half a cup of mayonnaise, and this is a tablespoon of granulated brown sugar. You could use white sugar, and my secret element that I don't see in other recipes, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. So when I have taken this to a family event, it is very popular, and they keep saying, what is in there? Is that cinnamon? And then this is a teaspoon and a half of apple cider vinegar. Some people like to use lemon juice, and that's fine. But apple cider vinegar with apples seems like a good combination. So this is the dressing we will pour over the top of the actual apples. I've got sliced, actually 4 kind of medium-sized apples. They say like maybe 3 cups of apples that are already sliced, and I would pick a sweet kind of apple. These are gala apples, which are a very sweet apple. I've got 1 cup of sliced celery. Now, the original Waldorf salad came when the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City opened their doors in 1893, and their chef, for their very first debut event, created this salad. It was March 14th, 1893. It was a charity ball for the opening of St. Mary's Children's Hospital there in New York. And all they did was had apples and celery and just plain old mayonnaise. But over time, the recipe has expanded to include grapes or raisins, and this is raisins. I've got a half a cup of raisins and a half a cup of chopped walnuts. So that is the combination, and we pour this mayonnaise concoction over the top of this and mix it until some of that yummy dressing is on pretty much all the apples, all the celery, all the walnuts and raisins. Did I say it was easy? Here's your Waldorf salad. Yay. Our story today is entitled The Road to Nowhere. John, may I use your car to travel to the ladies' retreat this weekend? I asked my hubby. Since his car has a satellite navigation system, an SNS, and the retreat was kind of out in the boonies, about an hour and 15 minutes north of Watertown, John agreed. I would be traveling alone, but since I would be using that SNS, what could possibly go wrong? The trip to the retreat on Thursday was uneventful, yay, except that the SNS wanted to take me to the back service entrance of the conference center. Logic told me to ignore that directive and use the front entrance with the big "Welcome to the State Ladies Retreat" sign on it. Good call, no harm, no foul. I wish I could say the trip home was as uneventful, but alas, that was not meant to be. Come Saturday afternoon, the retreat was over and I was leaving to go home. I assumed I would take the long driveway from the conference center out to State Highway 23, which runs past the property. Note, however, that several side roads branch off that main driveway, leading to numerous cabins and summer dwellings. As I pulled away from the conference center buildings, the navigation system told me to turn right on the very first side road. In my head, I could hear my husband saying, "That's ridiculous, Carol. Everybody knows you need to go to the end of the driveway and then turn left on Highway 23. To which I snarkily responded in my head, "John, why do you use a navigation system if you're just going to go your own way no matter what?" So I rather haughtily turned right on that first side road, assuming the SNS was taking me on a wonderfully amazing secret shortcut. Nothing could have been farther from the truth. The navigation system continued spewing out a series of directives that involved lots of turns onto many little side roads that got successively more remote, dilapidated, and narrow, until at last I found myself on a dirt road with a chain across it and some guy's truck blocking the way in case someone decided to go rogue. I said out loud, "Okay, John, you were right. I should have taken the driveway to Highway 23. So I pulled to the side of the road and called the SNS. To the computer voice that cheerily asked me, "How may I assist you?" I moaned, "I need to talk to a human." Unruffled by my tone, the computer voice replied, "Tell me more so I can help you better." Speaking louder than necessary, I wailed, "I am lost, and I need to speak with a human." The terse reply was, "One moment, please." As I began explaining my dilemma to the navigation system's live representative, a car full of ladies from the retreat, who also must have been using an SNS, arrived at that same fateful roadblock and rolled down their window. I explained to them, "The road's closed, but the nice lady on my satellite navigation system with whom I am now speaking says she will help us find our way out of here." But that car full of ladies chose not to wait. They just did a U-turn and headed back the other direction. Unfortunately, I was not as wise as they were. I continued listening to my SNS rep, following her every direction. She promised me in her decidedly Southern accent, "I will not leave you, honey. I will stick to you till we figure this out." So I drove about blindly at her behest, getting further and further from civilization, only to encounter yet another chained road and numerous unpaved paths and trails that were not on her map. Not on her map. She's the one with the satellite. That poor SNS lady was as flummoxed as I, saying things like, "What on earth? And what are they doing up there at that satellite?" As stressful as the situation had become, I was able to keep my cool through it all. However, my nose must not have gotten the memo, because right then and there I felt something oozing from my schnoz. I continued driving as I dug in my purse for a tissue and wiped my upper lip. What? I had a nosebleed. Unbelievable. And that wasn't all. I suddenly became aware of a rather urgent need to use the restroom. What next? I thought. At that moment, we miraculously stumbled upon Highway 23, albeit many miles north of the conference center. Common sense told me to turn south, but Madame SNS said no. Her plan for me was to go east on some county road. I followed her advice for about 50 feet and then took back charge of my fate. "Thank you so much for helping me find Highway 23, I told her. "But I'm going to bid you adieu and head south on 23 to the conference center where I know there's a ladies' restroom and someone who can give me directions home. Goodbye." End of story, right? Sorry, no. Several miles down the road on Highway 23, I saw what I thought was the red brick and decorative metal gated entrance to the conference center, so I turned in. I realized immediately that I was mistaken. This was the entrance to a private property. Fortunately, the owner was outside the beautiful red brick home, bringing his friendly golden retriever home from a walk. I pulled closer to the house on their driveway, rolled down the passenger side window, and called to the man, "Excuse me, I'm a bit turned around and could use some directions if you'd be willing to help me." I don't believe he was as willing to help me as his tail-wagging dog who dragged him to my car. I assured the man, "I promise, I'm not some slasher or mass murderer." And then I spied the bloody tissues on the passenger seat and nonchalantly flicked them to the floor. I'm just a regular person who needs directions home. And then I cut to the chase. But before you give me directions, could I please use your bathroom? I am so embarrassed to ask, but this is really an emergency. The poor guy looked a bit overwhelmed, but said, sure, follow me. He led me inside the back door of his home, through the kitchen, pointed to the restroom and said, I'll be waiting outside. When I came back outside, the man was looking at his phone and asked, so, where are you headed? I gave him my address and hopped back in the car. I grabbed my pen and some scrap paper from my purse and, old school, wrote down the directions he read to me. I thanked him profusely. His golden retriever popped his head through the car window and gave me a parting kiss, and I got back on Highway 23. So, just 45 minutes after leaving the conference center, I was finally on my way home. Whew. The good news is the man's directions worked, and I lived to tell. Now, most days I am thankful for satellite navigation systems and for internet-based map services, but their directions are fallible. They're not always correct. But every single day I am thankful for that infallible guidebook, the Bible. If I follow its directions, I know for certain I'm going the right way in life. Psalm 119, 105 assures me that the Word of God is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Thank you so much, Lord. Thank you.
Blessed Bible, book of gold, precious truths your pages hold, truths to lead me day by day, all along my pilgrim way. Blessed Bible, pure and true, guide me all my journey through. Heavenly light within me shine, help me make your precepts mine. Help me make your precepts mine. Lamp of faith my feet to lead, bread of heaven my soul to feed, living waters pure and free. Book of books you are to me. Blessed Bible, pure and true, guide me all my journey through. Heavenly light within me shine, help me make your precepts mine. Help me make your precepts mine. Word of God, your love impart, fire my zeal and cleanse my heart. Keep me earnest, keep me true, every day my strength renew. Blessed Bible, pure and true, guide me all my journey through. Heavenly light within me shine, help me make your precepts mine. Help me make your precepts mine.
The hymn, I Am Thine, O Lord, is one of many collaborations between the blind poet Fanny Crosby and composer William Doan. Today, Abigail Boorujy will be playing Faye Lopez's beautiful arrangement of this classic hymn. I want to thank Abigail Boorujy for joining us today and being our guest musician and playing so beautifully for us. And now it's time to sing our blessing, the doxology.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above, ye heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.
Thank you. And now it's time to taste test. As you can see, our cheesy potatoes browned beautifully. And we've got individual servings of our Waldorf salad. And to complete the menu, I made some ham and Swiss cheese sandwiches to be a nice way to fill out this meal. So let's dig in and see what you think. To request copies of today's recipes, or for free sheet music to the song Blessed Bible, Book of Gold, phone 920-262-4021 or email watertowntv@cityofwatertown.org. This program can be viewed at your pleasure on the City of Watertown's YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Please join us again next time for Carol's Kitchen.